Hey everybody, and welcome back to Writer Groupie. This is day 4 of Vlogentines. That is my made-up word for the couple of weeks around Valentine's. You know, I thought maybe I'd start out this month and I would just do the whole month, videos every day. But I am already starting to feel the pull. It's kind of tiring, to be honest. You have so much you have to do. You have to film it, and then you have to edit it, and then you have to upload it, and that all takes some time. And so I'm not sure, I'm not saying positively, but I'm not sure that I'm going to make it through the whole month. We might be doing Vlogentines through the 14th of February, which is Valentine's Day. And if we stop there, I think it would be okay. But today, let's talk about the difference between a critique and a review. Just for those of you who are wondering, this is probably going to be a short video because all that information is readily available on the internet. But you know me, I like to try and do different things. So this is my attempt at clarifying the difference between a critique and a review today on Writer Groupie. Okay, so first of all, let's talk about what is a critique. And this can really be anything. This can be a critique of someone's written work. It can be a critique of someone's created video game. It can be a critique of someone's piece of art. Critiques are wide and varied. You can use a critique thought to just about any created work. And so, of course, I'm a writer and this is Writer Groupie. So we're going to talk about the written word. And this is what we're going to talk about today is critiquing the written word versus reviewing the written word. And by the written word, I mean a book, a short story, a poem, etc. And y'all, if you haven't been a critiquer or you haven't done a review, then I need to hear from you down below. Leave me a comment today. I want to know that you've never done a critique and you've never done a review because that's kind of vital. So what is a review and what is a critique? This is my take on it. A critique is a really in-depth look at the written word, at the book, at the short story, at the poem, at the whatever it is. A critiquer is someone who takes the written word and maybe in chunks, maybe in bite-sized pieces. I belong to several critique groups and that's how we do it. Chapter at a time, scene at a time, like that. But you take that chunk, that piece of the written word, and you read it line by line critically, and you determine what is working with it and what is not working with it. In a minute, I'll talk about what you shouldn't do. But for now, that's kind of what a critique is. And that's what a critiquer does, is they look at the word, the written word, the piece of written word, line by line, critically. They go and they analyze the whole thing very in depth. And generally, a critique is done by another writer, or a critiquer is another writer, or someone that knows the ins and outs of language and writing and what works and what doesn't work. And it's very helpful. Like I said, I belong to several critique groups and they're fabulous. Every bit of input that a writer can get on their work is delightful and necessary. I don't know about you guys, but it's bothersome to me to be looking at the camera and seeing myself in these glasses. I apologize if that distracts you because it distracts me. But anyway, I digress. And so let's look at what a reviewer is. Now, someone who reviews is generally a layperson. There's someone who reads books and generally in specific genres. Or if it's not a fiction book, they read in specific nonfiction categories. For example, they may know an awful lot on how to build a cabinet, and they study up on it, and they read books about cabinetry building. And so they know a lot about that. And in fiction, it's kind of the same. You know, you get a reviewer who will read your work and say you've written a romance, as I would have done, and they tell you, or they say in their review, that this particular story crossed all its T's and dotted all of its I's, so far as, the romance went, the build up, the resolution, and maybe, they were expecting a happily ever after, and you did that perfectly. And that's what the reviewer is looking for. They're looking for story level things. They want to start it, go through the whole thing, and come out at the end feeling satisfied, feeling changed. And a reviewer is, especially a reviewer that's really good, who is a regular reader and knows what they're looking at, they're priceless, absolutely priceless. Now, as I said before, things you don't want to do, things that a critiquer, and I'm not sure I'm even saying that right, it may just be critic. It may not be a critiquer. It may just be a critic. Either way, something that a critic or a critiquer and or a reviewer should not do is to critique the writer. That is not necessary. If you're going to leave a critique for someone, if you're in a group, or maybe it's a one-on-one, maybe you meet them online, or however you come by a piece of written work for someone that you want to critique, remember, they put in an awful lot of themselves into that. And they put in hours and hours of work on that. And that piece of work matters to them. That's a part of them. That's a part of their heart. That came from their mind to their fingertips. And it became a piece of creation for them. And it matters to them. So be gentle with your critiquing. Do not critique the writer. That is not what they're asking you to do. They're asking you to critique the work. And so, it is really, really helpful if you don't use words like, well, you should have, or you didn't do, etc. I think it's more prosperous, more productive if you think and use terminology like the writing is, the writing was, the writing has, the writing isn't, the writing is not, and focus on the writing, not the writer. And that's my admonition for you today. Ditto for reviewing. Please do not write a review and leave it in public view on any online source like Goodreads or Amazon or any of the other places. Please do not leave a review talking about the writer. It's unnecessary and it hurts us. It really, truly does. It is fine for you to not like the written work. It is fine if you're reviewing it to say, I couldn't finish this book because the writing so-and-so, or the characters so-and-so, or the setting so-and-so. But don't leave a review saying, well, I just couldn't finish this book because the writer is stupid and doesn't know what they're saying. That's not helpful. It's not helpful and it's not necessary. And you could anger somebody to the point where they hunt you down online and find out just why you had such a beef with them as a person. You didn't review the work, you reviewed the person. Nobody wants that. So in conclusion for today, day 4 of Vloggingtines, let me just say that I love my critiquers. I love my critique group and every member in it, and every one of the groups that I belong in. I also love every single solitary review that has been left for me, because even if it wasn't a positive review, it taught me something. It taught me something about my writing. It taught me something about the books that I thought were doing, right by their genres, and maybe perhaps I wasn't writing them correctly. We all have to learn. And if you don't know the stage that writer is in, whether that writer's an absolute rank beginner or maybe they're a seasoned writer, if you don't know, be careful about the reviews that you leave, because you can really change the trajectory of their career. Well, that's it for me today, you guys. It's been so much fun coming on here and talking to you today about critiquing and reviewing. And if you have any questions, please do leave them down below. And I think I might leave some links today to some good books on critiquing and reviewing and critique groups and those kinds of things, so that you can be better educated and not just from what I have to say. Well, okay, I'm hoping I can come back tomorrow. Tomorrow will be the 5th day of Vloggintines. I'm hanging in there, but if I miss a day, y'all don't kill me, okay? Bye.